Good morning. Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. Hope that you are well. I hope you guys had a great weekend. You just get us pinned to the top of the group here. My name is Christina Quick. I am also known as the Tarot Biz Mentor Online. I'm your host on Monday Magic and Marketing. And today we are going to be discussing how to navigate social media as a business platform. So if you are here, say hello. Let me know where you are listening or watching from. Okay, it looks like we are pinned and in the right spot. Wonderful. So this weekend, actually on Friday, did my first ever party at a tattoo shop, a tarot reading party at a tattoo shop. And it was the first one that I have done in about 4 years since you know, pre-pandemic. That's about when I stopped doing them, was right before the pandemic hit. And it's been about, it's been oops, sorry. Hi, Ivy, good to see you. Sorry about that. Okay, let me get everyone tagged. And you know what? I really, really, truly forgot how fun. Um, Hi, Antara, good to see you. Hi, Alicia, good to see you. Ivy, good morning. I truly forgot about how fun they are, really, truly. So I'm gonna definitely make a strong effort to be doing some more parties this year. I've got one in September. I've got another one in June coming up, and then I'm gonna be reaching out to some places um, to to start getting. What you know what? I really like doing like the low key ones at like small little boutique kind of places, where you're like the only reader there, and it's really just chill and relaxed, and it's more like you get to like hang out. Hi, good morning. You get to just kind of like hang out with people, and the conversation is always so good. You know what I'm saying? Like when you are doing parties and when you're doing fairs and conventions, it's a lot different than when you're doing just like a little boutique kind of situation. At fairs and conventions, it can be wild and crazy, and it can be so busy. Like, you set up, you sit down, 5, 6 hours goes by, and you're like, holy crap, where did the day go? That sort of thing. And you do so many readings, and it can kind of make your head spin. There's a lot going on, especially if you're, neurodivergent like I am, where, these big with lots and lots of people, it can be fun, but it can also be really emotionally draining, especially as an empath, right? And no matter what, even if you put your guards up, if you put your bubble up and stuff like that, peopling takes a lot of energy. But I really loved doing it at the tattoo parlor, and the tattoo parlor is where I go and get all my tattoos at. So, I had been going there for good morning, probably. Oh, I think I've been going to them for about 3 years now. So it was kind of like I was already established as a client, as a customer. Hi, Anita. Good morning. And so then it was really cool that they invited me to come do the tarot party with them. And we had like a tattoo flash. There was like little good morning, Sandra. We had tattoo flash available. So there was like little witchy tattoos that you could get. I mean, they're only like this big, but there's that. And then we had like crystals for sale. And the conversations were really, really good. I noticed that like, at smaller little events like this, it's more conducive to the spiritual life coaching process, because when you do like fairs and conventions, a lot of it's fortune telling based, but not necessarily always, but like you just don't really get enough time to really have those deep, deep conversations with people. And what I really noticed, hi Sabrina, good morning. What I noticed is that when you do like the smaller boutique ones, I was able to really do a lot of spiritual life coaching, which was really fantastic. And it was the first time in probably 4 years that I was able to really combine the tarot reading, fortune telling aspect, and the spiritual life coaching. And the clients were just amazing. Like there was one who was working on a generational cookbook, and so I was giving her advice about that. And then there was one that was like in a relationship, but really her questions were more like recently divorced, right? But really her questions are more career oriented and stuff like that. So we got to talk about those different aspects of her life, and It was just a great time, an awesome opportunity. And then I don't know if you guys watched the game last night. I don't know if you guys watched that, but I'm in Kansas City, so my team was at the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, and that went into overtime. So it was a very exciting weekend. And then we have the new moon coming up, and we have the year of the dragon starting. So I don't know about you guys, but this year is getting ready to rev up. So if you've been really like not that busy, or it's been, kind of quiet, difficult to get clients, just know that it is revving up. And then, we have Valentine's Day, which is basically this week, right? I mean, it's already the 12th, so it's in 2 days. So if you haven't pushed out your Valentine's special, you should probably do that. Anything good, anything is, no, I'm just talking about what I did this weekend. So you haven't really missed anything. We haven't gotten um, I was talking about the tarot party and the game last night and stuff like that. So uh, the year is starting. We won't officially start the solar year until Aries, which is March, but which is next month. But we're starting to rev up a little bit. So very exciting. If you haven't gotten your Valentine's Day offers or your self love offers or your love and relationship tarot readings out, pushed out, and doing a big sale on that, you might want to push that out today. And that'll help you kind of get some extra sales this week because everybody wants to know. Oh, and by the way, um, hi Skylar, hi Sissy, good to see you. By the way, Valentine's Day, the sales for Valentine's Day, that does not end on Wednesday. Okay, so because after that, after Valentine's Day, everybody's going to be like wanting to know, like, is this relationship going to move to the next level, next step? Is this relationship worth pursuing? And then you have people who like fought on Valentine's Day, and then you have people who didn't get the gift they wanted on Valentine's Day and stuff like that. So Valentine's Day sales, that'll run probably until the end of March. So I would encourage you guys to, if you want to hop on that Valentine's Day sale, and that energy and get those easy sales to follow that all the way through till March, really. Okay, so episode 11. Can you guys believe that we are on the second to last episode of season one already? It's crazy. I can't believe it's been a little bit over 3 months, but it's been 12 weeks, 12 weeks of trainings. I hope you guys are really enjoying this. I'm doing this on Mondays. I'm moving into, after we do today's and next week's, I'm going to be moving into doing a different series. We're going to take a break from the podcast for a little bit so I can go back and write some more content, come up with a new season, stuff like that, take a break. But we're going to be moving into another series. This is going to be a series on um, the tarot card readings, tarot card meanings, the major arcana. We're going to focus on the major arcana first. And that's going to be a series on YouTube. And I'm just going to be releasing those out as like little 5-minute videos, 5 to 6, maybe 7, maybe upwards of 10 minutes long. Just kind of depends on which card it is. But we'll be going through that, and that will be on my YouTube channel. So make sure you are subscribed. I'm going to set the videos up as premieres so that you will know when they're coming out, and so that you can get that, you can hit that like little bell notification to tell you that those videos are coming out. And so hopefully my goal is, I've already started, I've already gotten all the way up to, I think I'm working on the Emperor now. When I saw your videos, I binge watched them to help me catch up to where you are at. Amazing. That's the best way to utilize the YouTube, my free content, especially. That is the best way to utilize that. And just like, I tell people, if you're working on the psychic hotlines or you're working on Etsy or something like that, and it's kind of quiet, use that time to go through my old videos, because I have, almost 15 years worth of videos up there, and for people of all levels, whether you're just getting into starting a tarot business and you're trying to get on the psychic hotlines, or you're trying to get into Etsy, or you're trying to get off the psychic hotlines, get away from them, and you're opening up your Etsy store and starting on social media. Or if you are someone who's been, doing this for quite some time and you already have a little bit of a business for yourself that's for yourself, but you want to start getting into spiritual life coaching. And then all the way from there, going and setting up and building out your own affiliate system and stuff like that. So just depending on, where you're at, what your priorities are. My YouTube is full of not just business coaching, business content, but also I have series on there about, especially if you are a love and relationship coach, or you want to get into the energy of Valentine's Day. I have a soulmate and twin flame podcast, actually, not podcast series. I have a series on YouTube that talks a little bit about my beliefs of what um, soulmates and twin flames are according to what I feel that they are, and just kind of like how I've coached with people over the past 15 years and things of that nature. So if you are kind of resistant to soulmate and twin flame readings, but you want to do them because they're big money, there's that. Hi, Kirsten, good to see you. Good morning. Your YouTube was literally my crash course. Oh, amazing. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. So I will be spending a little bit more time going into the YouTube doing the YouTube videos. Again, we're gonna probably do I'm gonna really try to get 2 videos out per, week so that there's 22 major arcana. So that should hopefully take me, maybe about 3 months. So we'll focus on that for 3 months, and then we'll pick the podcast back up. So, by the way, if you have any, topics that you would like me to talk about for the podcast, just you can put it in here, a comment, or you can message me and things of that nature, and I'll try to incorporate it into the next. I think we're going to talk more about energy mastery. We're going to talk more about energetics. We'll talk more about boundaries, how to set up boundaries, and things of that nature in the next season of the podcast. More about the energy because we've really talked about the logistics of it in this season one. So next season we're going to talk more about the energy, the alignment, and stuff like that. So boundaries are actually a really big part of what I teach. I'm a solar Libra, lunar Virgo. So boundaries for me are super, super important. Libra is the scales of justice, right? So all my life, I've been really concerned with really helping myself navigate this world through having healthy boundaries because unfortunately, boundaries were not something I was taught as a child. And when you're also neurodivergent like I am, boundaries are really difficult. And you're also, and also if you're an empath, a psychic empath like I am, boundaries are also very difficult. So boundaries in and of itself is such a difficult thing because it's not something that you can really it's not like a skill that you can just learn on YouTube or something like that. Boundaries really have to be lived and learned. And the only way to know that you have an ineffective boundary, good morning. When COVID hit, you helped me build up my Etsy shop. Now we're 3 years later and I want more. I want to become a spirit mindset coach and looking for help. Amazing. I'm so proud of you. That is amazing. Wonderful. Amazing. And so the only real way that you have ineffective boundaries is when people break those boundaries or when you're constantly put into positions where you're having to defend yourself or defend your space or you're feeling like people are maybe sucking your energy out and things like that. Now, when you're running social media as a business, now how many of you really go into social media when you start your day, when you log into social media, how many of you are like, okay, I am at work? It's like when you log into social media, it's like you're clocking in, right? So that's one of the very first things. I'm just going to start talking about things that kind of helped me. I don't really have like a lesson plan today, but I'm just going to start talking about like things that really helped me shift from viewing social media as like this free for all where nobody has any sense of boundaries. Everybody, and it's like when you think about like how people talk to you and like just trolls and the way that people converse, social media is can be a very, very difficult place to navigate because it's kind of like a free for all wild, wild west, right? Type of situation. And so when you're running your business on Facebook, you kind of have to, not just Facebook, but when you're running your business on social media, it can be very difficult to maintain that business kind of mindset because there's always, I consider social media as like the ultimate shiny object chaser, right? Where you're constantly chasing those cool videos and the music and doing the trends and getting involved in fights with other arguing with people online and things like that. So it can be difficult to know. And if you feel like you're like, oh, I hate social media, or I hate having to run my business on Facebook and things like that, and that may be something that it's more you than it is the platform, right? So these are going to be some tips and things and mindset things that you really have to kind of think about when you run your business on social media because you can feel very burnt out, very drained. You can feel like it's a very hostile place. And yes, those things can be true, but really it's more about what you will allow yourself. You have troll tendencies. We all kind of do. And, and we all do. And there's so many times I have to like bite my tongue and just not say anything because, overall, I'm trying to distinguish myself as a business and not, just a loose cannon on social media. So, the very first thing that you can really think about doing for yourself is managing your time on social media. So if you are constantly scrolling or what they call doom scroll, like you're bored and you don't really know what you're doing or you don't have anything going on. So we can catch ourselves, be 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, 90 minutes later, and you're still, scrolling through that and nothing has gotten done. And so it's like this hour and a half is gone. And have you got anything done for your business? And sometimes no. So I think one of the main things that was really crucial for me is setting up a specific space in my house or my apartment, wherever you live. That is like, okay, this is my workstation. When I sit down here, I am clocking in, and I am starting my work day. So everything I do in this space when I log in is going to be business related, right? And that kind of helps separate from like, oh, when you're, in your bed and you're going to bed and you're watching videos before you go to bed, because I do all that kind of stuff too. But when I'm in my bed and doing that, or I'm on the couch and I'm sitting there, or it's like late at night and I'm just commenting on people's stuff and it's not really like business related, it's just like the social aspect of it, right? Because we have this like social aspect of social media, and then we have the business aspect of it. And those two, there's a lot of intersectionality in there, but it can be kind of confusing about what is a business task versus what is not a business task. So, business tasks, just to quantify that, would be posting value based content. So, anything educational, anything motivational, anything inspirational, posting about sales or specials that you have going on, following up with messages, people who have inboxed you, asking you about how much a reading is or when can they get on your schedule and things like that. That's considered a business task. All right. Setting up events for your business, that could be considered another business task. um, Sharing and collaborating with other people, maybe doing like lives or doing like a podcast or something like that on social media. Those are all considered to be like business tasks. Those are all, you go into that, and your intention is that you're going to generate some leads, or you're going to turn some colder leads into warmer leads, and you're basically going to introduce people to your brand, talk to people in a business way. Now when I'm sitting on the couch or I'm in the bed and I'm just, talking, yes, sometimes I will do some business things in there, but I am like, okay, I am not at work right now, right? So I have to compartmentalize, what am I doing in what time frame, and where is my location in which I'm doing from it. Something that has also been helpful for me for those in between times where like, yes, I'm working, but maybe I'm not like working, but I can do some working type things, is I got myself some Chromebooks. So I have a Chrome, which are basically like laptops and a tablet, kind of like if a laptop and a tablet had a baby. It's not quite a laptop and it's not a tablet, but it's like somewhere in between where you can use the desktop version of your browsers. So you can get things, so you can do things like Canva, you can create graphics, you can check your messages, reply to people, stuff like that. And so usually, so Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, I'm usually in here at least for about 2 hours or so, and I'm usually doing things like graphic design, copywriting, um, doing maintenance on Thinkific or my student academy, stuff like that, or like adding new courses or cleaning up old courses, or just, if someone says they have a account issue, they need a password reset, or they need to redo their account email or something. That's what I do in here. And when I do my podcasts and when I do my videos, for the most part, I do that in here. And that really helps me compartmentalize, what I'm doing, that I'm doing is actual work. Because otherwise, I can sometimes be on social media for 6 hours in a day. And did I actually do any business tasks? And that's something we have to kind of think about, creating a space in which is conducive to being at work, right? Another thing that really helped me out too was streamlining my communication. So if you email me, if you message my page and things like that, you're going to get a response typically within a business week, within 5 business days, and that's something you kind of want to set yourself up for. How what is the window in which you will respond to people and questions and technical support questions and things like that when it comes to like your website or your academy, accessing classes, courses, whatever it is that you create, right? That's not like a how can I work with you or how can I book with you? Like there's two types of communications really that happens. It's one, how do I book and how do I pay and when can I get on your schedule? And the other conversation is usually am I right for this program or can you help me find this or something like that, right? So when Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, those are my hardcore like business hour days. I'm usually here from 12 to 2. So I try to make myself available for those kind of conversations from 12 to 2. That's 2 hours, 3 times a week, which is what, 6 hours or so. That's what I consider to be like my work. I work usually about 5, 6 hours a week or so. And that's usually like my availability. So if you feel like that you have to answer people right away, or it's 11 o'clock at night, you're trying to wind down and you find yourself answering business emails or answering business questions in inbox, I want you to consider to not do that anymore. Those leads aren't going to go away. They're not going to run away. What you might miss out on is an impulse buy. Mondays are best days rolled by the moon. I love Mondays for business. Monday is absolutely like the business day. So, Mondays are a great day to really try to be available. And Mondays and Fridays are really the best days to run business because everybody's paid on Friday. So everybody's in the mood to buy. Everybody wants to buy. They want it. Oh, okay, okay, okay. I'm an eight. I'm an eight. I'm actually a 35, but I'm an eight. When you reduce it down. Yeah. So Mondays are usually great for like communications, doing business back end things. Fridays are great for selling, sell, sell, sell. That's Fridays. That's the Friday energy. Party, celebrate. It's Friday. Everybody's got paid. Everybody wants to buy. So I try to be available on Fridays to get people in. Now you might, if you are like that type of person that's answering questions at 11 o'clock at night, what you're doing is you're training people that you're accessible at those times and that so what you kind of have to do is put some space in between you and the people that are asking questions, the people that are trying to get a hold of you. And that is going to be so uncomfortable for a lot of you, putting in that space. But what that does is it trains people that you're not accessible just when they have a thought or idea that comes, an impulse idea that comes into their head, right? Because how many of you are spending all this time in Messenger talking, 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 and you're not getting paid for it. They're not booking, right? If you are available at every hour of the day, then what is the point of even getting on your schedule, right? If they can just get you at any moment, then that's super valuable. I know people that charge at least $500 a month for that type of quick response. And you have to realize that if you are quick responding to people, rapid responding to people, yeah, that's nice and all, but you should be being paid for that because that is not a normal part of business. That is what we call like expedited service, right? And so if you are just going into your inbox and it's 11 o'clock at night and it's just a black hole and you're just talking to people, you're getting sucked in there and you're not getting paid for that and it's disrupting your sleep and it's breaking your boundaries and it's, creating stress and anxiety for you, that's a big problem. So a lot of the problems we have on running a business on social media really has a lot to do with the fact that we are, at every given moment training people how to interact with us. Now, if you have people that are impulse buyers, yeah, you might miss an impulse buy, but that's not a big deal, right? Because what we're really trying to do is we're trying to attract uh, emotionally healthy people, people who Now there's a difference between, people who are excited and talking to you and they're just excited and, they're just like vomiting words and they're just excited. That's one thing. But don't feel like you always have to respond to that. Set some business hours, hours of operation, business hours, office hours is what I call it when you are available to handle those communications. And what that's going to do is it's going to create some space for you and it's going to train people to be more, receptive to seeing you as a business and not just some person that's constantly 24/7 accessible because that is only going to damage you, right? It's only going to damage your reputation. It's only going to damage your finances unless you are charging for that kind of, quick response type of thing. Oh, she energy dumps everything on me. So, and that can happen. That can happen. And it's okay. Um, it's okay to people to emotionally dump, but it's like, is that part of the what they're paying for, right? And so you have to think, is this thing that a client is doing, is this necessarily a bad thing, or is it just a bad thing because I'm not getting financially compensated for it? And if I can figure out a way to get financially compensated for it, because so maybe you need to come up with a dump session where where people just emotionally dump on you. I know there's one lady in here who I've worked with before who she has a session like that. Where it's like just 1 hour and the client can scream and yell and talk and blame other people and things like that, but she's there as like an emotional support for that process. So it just depends on how you like to work. Now, if you don't enjoy like the emotional dumping, or you don't enjoy the barrage of emotions and things like that, um, then at that point you definitely have to reconsider. Like, this is then it becomes a matter of what is my demographic, who is the type of person that I really want to attract? Is this person in alignment with that? If not, well, then, unfortunately, they will have to go. And the best way to fire someone is to give them a referral out. Just refer them out to 5 people. Don't refer them to people that you like. I have clients that I've worked with for 5 years as a tarot reader. They come to me all the time for advice even without booking a reading. So I tried to offer a free session for coaching in them so I can get a testimonial, but they don't seem interested in it, continue to wanna reach out. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that's someone who is it's a psychic vampire, right? So it's someone who is feeding off of your energy, and they're basically every time they're talking to you and brainstorming whatever catastrophic situation they're going through this week. Every time that they unload that, they are actually feeding off of you, right? It's like an exchange of psychic energy. But here's my advice. If someone is doing something you don't like, don't offer them anything for free. Because that's just like rewarding them for that behavior. You have to think about it when you're training people. You can't reward them with free things, you know, and when their behavior is not conducive to what you're trying to manifest in your clients and the type of person that you're trying to work with. Even for a free testimonial, I still wouldn't do it. 'Cause it's just a reward. I think constant readings and emotional unstable people, it can be. And we have to ask ourselves, at what point are we enabling? And that's something we have to be really conscious of as professional psychics, that we don't wanna create situations in where we are enabling people to become dependent on us. I directed her a chat. Mhm. Hey, good morning. I am very careful with not becoming friends with my clients and creating boundaries with friends who I read for. Friends can be the worst. Oh, yeah. I don't read for friends either. I don't. I know it has to be worth it, right? And so and there's two kind of camps of people, and we'll talk about one of the last things because we're already at 30 minutes. Gosh, I can never keep this down to 30 minutes. But I want to talk about one more thing, okay? Also, let me spitfire a couple things that you need to post at least 3 times a week. That needs to be typically I post Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. If you want to do well as far as like people getting your content, post Saturdays and Sundays, post evenings or at lunchtime. Those are the best times to post. And these posts need to be business related. They need to be like sales. They need to be customer testimonials. They need to be videos that you're creating, that sort of thing. Okay. So that's what you should post and when you should post, because I told you I would talk to you guys about that. Now, the two camps of people. do you become friends with your clients? Do you not become friends with your clients? And I feel like the managing your timeline, because I think w- what you're saying is like friendship, yes, but also like friending people too, right? Like friending people on social media. And so timeline is like where people get access to your personal, your personal timeline, like on Facebook or whatever. I'm very like protective of my timeline because on my timeline I'm posting things about my real life. I'm posting things about like maybe thoughts about my opinion that might not be conducive to like what people what my ideal clients might think or something like that. I'm just as guilty as a lot of you. I might be having a bad day and I might vent on my personal timeline. Just recently I posted about my dog passing away last week. So, these are like super, and not Kira, by the way. Kira's fine. This was my 17-year-old Chihuahua. She passed away last week. So, and so when I'm opening myself up spiritually, when I'm opening myself up emotionally, and I'm being vulnerable, and I'm also sharing pictures of, say, me and my family or me and my husband, things of that nature. I'm very protective. My timeline is crazy, right? Like the timeline is like your timeline is like your sacred space. I view that as like your home. That's your house that we share with everybody else, right? And so that's your opportunity to share things that might be more in the social aspect rather than the business aspect of it, right? And so those lines, oh, thank you. Yeah. So those lines can be really blurred, right? So I'm very protective over who I add on my timeline. And I go through these, I say all types of crazy. You're so funny. I love you so much. Um, so it's like I'm really protective, and I go through like these waves of like, yeah, I'll go through like these things where I'll just unfriend a bunch of people and like people that I don't talk to, where I'm like, who are you? Like, how did like we met one time, and I'm like, wait, who are you again? And they never interact with my business again. So here's how I do it. Really, I have to look and feel into the person that I'm accepting on my timeline. And if I feel like they are, conducive to where I'm going and who I want to be and who I manifest, then I will absolutely add them. Or if there's someone who's spent a lot of money at the academy and I like who they are as a person, or we have developed a good relationship or we worked one on one, those are the people I will add to my personal timeline. Sometimes I will add strangers just to kinda get to know them a little bit, but most of the time, I just do, like, where I purge my friends list, and so if you've been on my friends list before, and I typically will go through it, like, maybe once or twice a year where I'll go through my friends list and I'll, like, look on the academy and I'll look at people's accounts and see, like, are they actually a member of the academy? Have they spent any money at the academy? And if we've been friends for, like, 2 years and they haven't spent any money at the academy, they don't have an account, and they're not, like, coming to any of my events, and I'm not going into any of their events, then I just, unfriend them. And I you have to be really discerning with your timeline too, only adding people that you feel safe around, only adding people that you really feel like you have a good relationship with, and understanding that if you do decide to add people to your timeline and to become friends with potential clients or clients, and to understand that it takes a very special person to be able to maintain those healthy boundaries. And there are people out there that can do that. And I've had people, I've, and it's such, I don't want to say don't become friends with your clients because I don't believe that that's like, if that works for you, if that's like part of like that's like your thing and you don't want that and you're very firm that you don't want to do that and you want to maintain that professional boundary, that's so fine. It's so okay to do that. But I also have met people. I've also people who have become that were clients that they went through the academy, they're no longer part of the academy, or they are, but like they're not coaching with me anymore, and those relationships have turned into great friendships. Like I've had people move out here to come be around here with me. I've had people that have just come out here to come visit me that are clients, past clients, and it's a really great, I've met some really great people that I consider part of my family, part of my soul tribe, that we're clients at one point. So, you just have to kind of take everybody as an individual and just, see if this is something that they have healthy boundaries and constantly checking that healthy boundary. Like, does this person make me feel free, supported, unjudged? Or does this person make me feel trapped? And I think that intuitive discernment right there is like the answer to it. So if someone is making you feel trapped or they're making you feel like you want to run away or like you hate social media, then that person is not a good match for you. And that's one of the easiest ways to kind of tell. And it can also be true to that, if you do have one of those people, but you still like them and you still want to work with them, you're like, we just can't be friends, right? So you just kinda have to take everybody. Sandra, I do a lot of public events, so in-person friend relationships are the ones I have to watch. Yeah, so that's really great, and I just recently set that up, Sandra, where I set up a second Instagram. So when I'm, like, meeting people, then I can direct them to that particular Instagram instead of getting into my normal space. And so, it just you can look at your different profiles and like maybe you have an Instagram that you give out that's like for people that you're not really sure too much about, or you meet at in-person places and you're like, oh, I don't know if they're going to continually bother me or try to, because one of the things about in-person people is that they're great, but unfortunately, a lot of the times they don't necessarily see you as a business. So they might be like, let's go to lunch. And then they want to talk about their problems all during lunch. Right. So you kind of have to, in person is a little bit more tricky, and boundaries can be definitely difficult. Oh, right. Yeah. I always have to look within myself because some clients show up as mirrors. Absolutely, and asking yourselves like, what is going on in my life in which that is attracting this person, and sometimes sometimes people and clients aren't lessons. Sometimes they are just psychic vampires. And so having those systems in place in which people can move through them and having those boundaries in place for you, how often you're communicating with people, what days you're doing that and doing it in a consistent way, I think. So yeah, I was warned about my brother by a messenger. Interesting. That's really interesting. Um, does anybody have any questions about using social media as a business platform? I think if nothing else you take from today is so weakness bothers me so much. Okay, so and that can be difficult when you're on social media, right? And you're seeing people out there being vulnerable or being in victim mentality, right? And so we also have to be careful about being in spaces and being around people that are um we're past certain things, right? And so when we're past certain things energetically, we don't want to entertain that anymore. It becomes like nails on a chalkboard. It's like, oh, I've already defeated that. I've already beaten that. And so it kind of summons up this like warrior energy, that this warrior energy in us, and then we can feel like we're going to battle and things like that. So if someone's posting things that are I really don't discriminate. I mean, if someone's posting things that trigger me, then unfortunately I have to just unfriend them and just say goodbye. If I really, really like them as a person, but they just posted something that was a little cuckoo, I just unfollow them. I don't unfriend them, but it takes a lot to kind of freak me out these days. I really have worked on myself enough, I think, where a lot of stuff doesn't bother me like it used to. I try to okay, well, just because this person posted this doesn't mean anything about me. It's not a reflection of me, and being brave enough to be in spaces that are not always like 100% what it is that I stand for, what I do. But everybody has that everybody has that like line in the sand that you have to draw that last straw, right? Where you have to decide is this I like for an example, when I was like hardcore vegan, you might not know this about me, but back in like 2000, I'm New York. I'm in New York. We were certified cookie. The snooze button, right? Exactly. 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 Okay, there's some good questions here. Is there a good multi-posting app that you recommend yeah, so I use, Hootsuite. Let me type Hoot, like an owl, says hoot, hoot, Hootsuite, Suite. So I really like Hootsuite. Hootsuite's been one of the ones, it's like excuse me, it's been around for a really, really long time. So it really doesn't come into a lot of trouble or issues. The other one that I use a lot is Post Planner. Post Planner is I like that because it has like a thing where you can post weekly, you know. So instead of like, okay, I'm gonna post this at 9 o'clock in the morning every single week, and then I have to set that up. It has an option where you can just do weekly. But I will say this: if you over the last probably 2 years, 1 year, 1 to 2 years, the Facebook Meta Business Suite has really come a long way. Holy crap. It is really amazing. It's an amazing backend. So you can just go to Google and type in Facebook Meta Suite, and it will just take you there, or you can access it on your Facebook business page. Now, where you can literally schedule your posts just from Facebook now. And there's even if you have a group as well, there's the new what's called Smart Assist. So Facebook is starting to integrate a lot of AI. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but there's AI in your messenger now. I don't know if everybody's gotten that rollout, but I have it where I have an AI assistant now on my Facebook Messenger. It's really cool. And then there's also like it's called Smart Assist or AI Assist or something like that. Excuse me, I have laryngitis from screaming last night from the game. Um, so there's that. And so what it'll help you do is that you go into your group and you can access it that way, and it'll be like, do you want to post? You know, you can set up welcome posts now that automatically go out like once a week. So Facebook Meta Business Suite has really come a long way, but it's kind of clunky, and it can be kind of slow. So checking out Hootsuite or Post Planner, and it just kind of depends on what you need it for. Uh, I believe that Post Planner posts to Facebook, Facebook groups, Twitter, which is now X, and I don't think it posts to Instagram, whereas Hootsuite does post to Instagram. Okay, and you can also post to Instagram via the Facebook Business Suite. Do you prefer posts over reels, or do you feel that posts or reels should be a certain content? So that's a really good question. I still prefer posts, and I don't know if this is because I'm an old school person. I've been on the internet since '98. I mean, I've been on, I've seen everything. I've seen Napster and MySpace and AOL Messenger and MSN chats and and Witchvox. So I've been around for a while. I still think that the posts that do the best conversion are text-based posts with photos, just a photo or a video, right? So it could be a collection of photos put into a slideshow. So it could be like uh, a visual slideshow of your sales page, or a visual slideshow of like testimonials, client testimonials, that things of that nature. But I still feel that on social media, on Instagram, and Facebook primarily, that text-based content, is still going to get the most, because text-based is kind of like on the second hotlines. Chat is always going to be king there, because what most people are doing when they're on social media is many other things at the same time. So not everybody can always watch a video with the sound up. So if you're going to do videos and reels, I would highly recommend putting um, subtitles on those so that you can increase your viewership. So people who are, say, watching a movie or babysitting kids or something like that, watching their kids or cooking or something, they can't necessarily listen to it, but they can, maybe not cooking, because that's more like you can listen to it. I would also recommend that if you do primarily text based, that you still put out some reels and things like that, and what they call reels now, which is basically just short videos. I mean, don't get too caught up in like what we call things. So reels, shorts, they're basically just short form video content. The short form video content is Okay, so when you're doing text-based content, say it's value-based, so you're putting out like a blog post uh, on social media where it's like tips for something, and you have like an image or something. That's great for addressing the audience that you already have. That's gonna when you do text-based with video on your um, social media platforms, that's gonna mainly land with people that are already following you because it's gonna push it to the top, right? When you're doing the ways to get discovered these days is definitely to do reels and shorts. And that is one of the best way to get discovered because that's what these platforms are really valuing now as far as like what they're pushing out as far as like so you have what's called on social media this thing called an algorithm, and the algorithm at certain points in time is going to value things differently depending on what the people who created the platforms decide is a piece of valuable content. So on Instagram it used to be the where there was no reels, there was no shorts. Instagram used to be just photo based, but every time that they bring some kind of new way to deliver content, what they do is they go in and they write that code to tweak that in order to give more value points, more it deemed the algorithm is going to deem this as more important or more interesting, right? So one of the best ways right now, 2024, to get found and discovered and build an audience where people are coming to you is to do that through video. Okay. And still, I still believe that 5-minute videos are the key. If you're going to anything 5 minutes or less, let me point that out, 5 minutes or less, that tends to be the trend right now. And when I look at my video analytics from Instagram, from Facebook, from YouTube, my average view duration is usually about 4 minutes and some odd seconds. Okay. So that's about how long people will listen in until unless they're gonna swipe, because it'll tell you like, oh, they swiped to the next video or something like that. But the people that actually stayed, is under 5 minutes. So if you're gonna do really good lead generation content on like Instagram or Facebook, under 5 minutes. Now, YouTube is a little bit different. YouTube tends to favor somewhere between 15 minutes. When I look at my YouTube analytics about how long people usually sit in front of one of my videos, it's typically about 10 minutes, somewhere between 7 and 10 minutes. So, what that means is that I think, far smarter and far more advantageous, especially if YouTube is a big and I still believe YouTube is still the number one social generator, lead generator for me. Just because people who are on YouTube, you have to think about the demographic, right? Who are on YouTube are watching videos, they're trying to learn something, they're trying to go to YouTube school, right? YouTube University. YouTube is also great for entertainment, but YouTube is such a hardcore learning tool. A lot of people go on there to learn. So, when you think about that and you think about, okay, where do I really want to spend a lot of my time creating content? Well, gonna depend. YouTube is great for people who have courses, academies, higher end coaching. Instagram is great for like smaller microtransaction sales, that sort of thing, because the attention span is shorter. So the type of person that you're trying to attract to your business, they're gonna use different social medias and they're gonna be having different biases towards social media. So I think it's far uh, better to create that long form content on YouTube, which is somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes long, and then break those long form contents up into small micro reels that you can recycle and post on Instagram versus trying to have a strategy for Instagram and a strategy for Facebook and a strategy for YouTube. That can make anybody feel crazy. That can literally burn you out so fast. And that's why you need a team in order to do that. So that's what I prefer. And I feel like it's a good middle ground where, I'm creating those 5 to 15 upwards of an hour. Today we're going to an hour content on YouTube and then like cutting out little shorts of that. And there's all these tools out now. There's like AI tools. I don't use any of them right now. But there are AI tools out there that you can, purchase and like a monthly fee that you can just upload your video to and it will spit out like 10 shorts or something. So it'll do it for you. Also, if you are going to be doing mostly primarily videos, you can go on WordTune, WORDTUNE, and you can download their free little browser app, and basically it will translate your YouTube videos for you, transcribe them actually. So that way you can have a written version of your videos that you can then turn into blog posts and things like that. So I think it's far more advantageous to create one piece of content and then create as many micro forms of content as you can around that one large piece of content and post that on different social media channels rather than having a separate strategy for each one, right? That was a very long, very long tangent, but I hope that that makes sense. How long do you think is a reasonable amount of time to work on one post? I would say no more than 20 minutes. No more than 20 minutes. Text-based posts and reels do the best for me, but hashtags help. Yeah, hashtags are we're kind of seeing it's interesting right now. We're kind of seeing the phasing out of hashtags. Hashtags are not as important as they were 2 years ago, 5 years ago, right? So, hashtags still helpful, still important, but using less hashtags and more really focused hashtags are one of the best ways to, also get found because hashtags are, something you can type into a platform, kinda like you go to Google and you type in tarot cards and you just get a whole bunch of stuff related to tarot cards. You can go to Instagram and you can type in hashtags. You can also follow hashtags, so you will get in your feed like different, content. So I would say use specific hashtags that are specific to your brand. Use those consistently so that you are, coming up as relevant with a certain hashtag. I have to work on my communication. And communication's hard. It's not intuitive. My hidden powers lies in communicating and writing. Amazing. Oh, interesting. I study playing cards, and each of those platforms have a playing card that we hold. Yeah. Yeah, so there's a vibration, there's a whole bunch of energetics that go into each one of these. How can I break it down? So breaking it down, I try to go on, like, um single ideas. So I'll rewatch my video on YouTube, and then like there's a YouTube short button that you can create that YouTube short. You can cut it. I think it's called a cut button. But basically, anytime I say something that's like a full sentence or I feel like it's really important, I'll make a cut out of that. So I try not to do like clickbait. I try not to do like to be continued type of stuff. I try to focus on singular ideas that people can grasp as they're watching and don't necessarily have to watch the whole training. So it's kind of intuitive, but I think that that's one of the best ways to go about it. Oh, spending an hour. Well, see, in the beginning, listen, in the beginning, it's really difficult, right? Because like you're learning how to write, you're learning how to format posts. I think one of the easiest ways is to bullet point something. And so if you have an idea, write out what the idea is, bullet point three sections, and then put your idea there, put each of your bullet point ideas there, then give yourself 20 minutes. And then you can always put it into Grammarly. You could always put it into Chat GGP. You could always put it into WordTune. Any of these other like editors that will like fix up your grammar and help you figure out what the heck you're actually trying to say. So I would sooner spend 20 minutes on a post and then just put it into Grammarly and you know have it get fixed there. Yeah, I follow hashtags on IG and try to use the same ones. I'm making shorts of videos that are unlisted classes because I'm trying to show people what happens during my Patreon classes. That's great. Working on etymology at the same time. That is such an interesting field of study, isn't it? Such an interesting field of study. I love etymology. It's very interesting. Okay, any questions before I let you guys go? Sorry that this was an hour. Um, Next week we will be talking about how to uh, get client testimonials, how to get client testimonials, what kind of questions to ask, what client testimonials are valuable versus, what is not really doing anything for your business. how to ask for testimonials in a high vibrational way, that kind of thing. Thank you, Goddess, for sharing your ideas and strategies. I'm so grateful. It's been making a difference for me personally and professionally. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm glad that we have this time on Mondays. It's just, it's a really great opportunity to just connect and get Sandra, thank you. Connect and get everybody on the same page and set some standards for this industry because everybody runs it differently. But I think if we can set some basic standards, then it feels like, oh, okay, well, I'm hitting these marks, and so going along running your business, like, okay, well, I'm doing this, right? Because I don't know about you, but for the first 3 years, it was like throwing spaghetti at the wall and see, and seeing what will stick to the wall. You know what I mean? Seeing what works. But it's helpful if you have like this list of like, okay, this is what should be, this is what is actually gonna get me results versus what is not going to get me results. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I will see you guys next week. So remember, boundary up, bubble up is what I call bubble up. Make sure you give yourself a bubble of space in which you feel confident and capable and happy and healthy to operate within your business. Don't let the best advice I can give you is don't let people boss you around. Don't let your anxiety be running your business. Don't let your insecurities and your fears be running your business about how I got to reply to this person, or I got to give the best answer, or I've got to reply to them right away, or else I'm going to lose them. You might lose some impulse buys, but guess what? You're going to attract people because just as much as we are testing people, they are also testing us. Do you realize that? Is that really high vibe, high value people are testing us. I've had so many, I used to have people say, well, my best payers, my best buyers, my best schedulers. And they would say, Christina, go to bed. Do not answer me at 11 o'clock at night. Like, those are the people that care about you. They care about, and they're going to help you establish those boundaries. Okay. So have a good week. See you guys next Monday.